Greetings. This is Brenda Lopez, Assistant Director, and today I'll be presenting the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 budget for the Housing Authority of the City of Oxnard. The Oxnard Housing Authority manages two major programs, which are most commonly known as the Public Housing and the Section 8 program. I'll be providing an overview of each program's individual budget. We will first start off with the low-rent public housing program budget, which specifically pertains to the 523 public housing units that are owned and operated by the Oxnard Housing Authority. The United States Department of Housing and Urban Development requires all agencies to submit their program budgets by July 1st of each year. Each project area or public housing location is funded for and budgeted separately. The Department of Housing and Urban Development establishes the estimated cost to run each project by using a predetermined project expense formula, which is broken down to the prior year's tenant's rent plus any utility expenses will be equated to the estimated subsidy eligibility. The overall recommended budget is $8,042,472. The budgets for fiscal year 2024 to 2025 are estimated using 87.44% of the subsidy that was awarded to the Oxnard Housing Authority in the calendar year 2024. As mentioned earlier, the Housing Authority has 523 public housing units, which are scattered among 7 specific project areas or public housing locations that must be again funded and budgeted for separately. These include the Colonia Village, Felicia Court, Colonia Road, Pleasant Valley, Plaza Vista, Palm Vista, and what is termed as scattered sites, which includes Cuesta del Mar, Althea, Concord, Fashion, Hill Street, and Fremont. For fiscal year 2024 to 2025, the projected revenue is broken down as follows. Tenant rents of $5,126,247, an operating subsidy of $572,327, management fees of $950,447, and other income of $699,452. This equates to a grand total of $7,348,473. When compared to the current fiscal year, this is a projected increase of $355,947. The expenses for fiscal year 2024 through 2025 are broken down as follows. Administrative expenses of $3,236,623. Tenant services, $31,476. Utilities, $1,071,335. Maintenance expenses of $2,792,832. General expenses of $732,141, and other expenses as $178,065. This would be for a grand total of $8,042,472 in expenses. This is a projected increase in expenses of about $690,349 when compared to the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. Overall, between revenue and expenses, the Housing Authority is projecting a net income loss of $693,999. The second program, which was the Section 8 program or Housing Choice Voucher program, refers to the voucher program that has approximately 910 families or vouchers being managed. The budget for the Housing Choice Voucher actually comprises of 2 major components. One is known as HAP, which is Housing Assistance Payments to Landlords, and the second component is administrative fees, which is funding that comes back to the Oxnard Housing Authority. Funding eligibility is based on the number of vouchers that are leased by the Oxnard Housing Authority and also by an established fee per unit leased that is determined by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The administrative fees budget was based on the funding proration that was awarded to the Oxnard Housing Authority in calendar year 2023. And the reason for that is that the information for calendar year 2024 was not yet available. Usually, the proration is roughly 90% of funding eligibility. For the fiscal year 2024 through 2025, the housing assistance payment portion of the recommended budget is $30,816,000. The recommended administrative fees budget is $3,361,979. Therefore, the grand total budget for the Housing Choice Voucher program would be $34,177,979. For the fiscal year 2024 to 2025, the income for the Housing Assistance Program or HAP budget is estimated to be $30,816,000. This is about a $2.8 million, 553,230 increase in revenue. And to clarify, this is payments that must be paid directly to landlords. Therefore, this is a zero budget because all funding received must be paid out to landlords. That is the only eligible expense for this category. The second component is the administrative fees. For the administrative fees, the projected budget income is $2,925,562, out of which the following expenses must be paid: personal expenses of $2,701,966, administrative expenses of $330,020, utilities and maintenance expenses of $57,688, general expenses of $272,305 for a grand total of $3,361,979 projected expenses. Therefore, the net income is projected to be a net loss or a projected loss of $436,417. This is an increase from the projected loss for the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget, which was or is approximately $132,179. The impact of the presented budget is as follows. The low rent public housing program budget requires a $276,134 balance in central office cost center cash reserves, which currently has about a reserve balance of $1,200,000. The public housing program will also require $417,865 in program reserves, which currently has an approximate balance of $11,900,000. The Section 8 program will also require $436,417 in Housing Choice Voucher or Section 8 program reserves, which currently has an approximate balance of $2.5 million. Therefore, the recommendation is that the Finance and Governance Committee recommend that the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Oxnard, 1, adopt a resolution approving the recommended $8,042,472 operating budgets for the low-rent public housing program for fiscal year 2024 to 2025, as presented for each project area, and approve and authorize the use of $693,999 of unrestricted cash to fund the projected deficit. And 2, to adopt a resolution approving the recommended $34,177,979 operating budget for the Housing Choice Voucher Section 8 for fiscal year 2024-2025, and approve and authorize the use of $436,417 of unrestricted cash to fund the projected deficit. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.